Well, let's see if this works. Yep. Well, hello. That's the mirror thing. I don't know if it actually needs to go this way. I think it does. There we go. So, in regards to Daniel 9, 70 weeks, temple destroyed, 1 in time week of time. Oh, it's actually... No, it's actually fine. Yeah, great. Awesome. That's a little... So, I did research on it, and there's so many weird things out there, and they say this and that and all that in regards of the Daniel 70 weeks, and it's just a mess because it messes up so much. First and foremost, one of the theories out there that is there's like 69 weeks that have been fulfilled, 483 years, and that would be 27 AD. But then they throw the 70 week into the future, which is absolutely madness. Why would you take a prophecy that God gives in regards of 70 weeks and then take the last one and throw 2,000 years into the future or more? Like, it's insane when you look at it, right? When people fix it up and they just throw the last week into the future. It's madness. It doesn't make any sense. What rubbish, Take a prophecy of God. Oh, you have the starting point here, but then you get to the 69 week, and then you just take the last week and, throw into the future. Garbage. It's just bullshit. So when you look at it, you kind of take a distance back and say, well, that's just rubbish. What are you talking about? It's like the thing when they talk about Genesis, right? And they put in millions of years in the different times. And we can put a gap thing in there, and we can put millions of years, like, in the beginning, the gods created the heavens and the earth. Oh, let's just put millions and, that, of course, is in regards to the introduction from the rest of the things. And actually, in regards to the earth, it should actually be land. It's actually the land. Anyway, Eretz, right? Land. But anyway, so we see after the introduction for the Genesis 1 account, we see that the gods are creating the heavens and the earth in 6 literal days, and he's resting on the 7th day, which he's blessing and sanctified and set apart, which is, of course, from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown in Roman time. So Sunday is the first day of the week. Now, of course, and again, days start at sunset and not in the midnight. That's Roman nonsense and all that. But anyway, so we have some of the same issues somewhat, where people think, let's just put some millions of years different, in regards to the different days in the Genesis story, where there's like, oh, we can have, like, a day is not really a literal day. It's like kind of, we can have some millions in there and some evolution bullshit and all that. It's just absolutely rubbish. But that's typical. You have to remember there's a lot of liars and a lot of deceivers out there in the world. It's disgusting, it's filthy, but that's just sadly how it is. So, in regards of Daniel 9, we have some of the same problems where people like making a gap. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Just like gap. Let's not make another gap. So anyway, we have 70 weeks. 70 weeks until all the things are fulfilled. And they were fulfilled in 70 AD when Jesus came around, and he was cut off after the 69 week. He was cut off in the 70 week. It's interesting when people are calculating like the up until 27 AD, and some of them understand that Jesus was cut off afterwards in the 70 week, but they don't understand that it's the 7. They can't comprehend that they are going into the 70 week with their calculations. So they show 27, that's the last year of the 69 year week. And then you go into what? What comes after 69? You go into the 70 week. And yet these people are so retarded. I don't know. There's so much retardedness out there. So they actually end up saying that they continue in the 27 week. It's like, the 69 week. Sorry in regards to that. Anyway, it's all these numbers, right? But they continue. They still don't understand. Hey, you're actually going into the 70 week, and it was fulfilled. Jesus died in the 70 week. No. They need this 70 week, and then they throw it into the future, which of course is bullshit. So anyway, 70 weeks has been fulfilled in the past. Then afterwards, the prophecy goes into the temple being destroyed. Actually, the city and the temple. Now, what city would that be? Well, Jerusalem. So you have Jerusalem, and you have the temple destroyed by the Romans. The Roman beast destroyed in 70 AD in regards to the temple, right? So the city and the temple, 70 AD. So that's fulfilled as well, right? Yeah, so we have the 70 weeks that has been fulfilled by the Messiah, by Yeshua HaMashiach. Then you have prophecy that goes beyond the 70 week, which in regards to 70 AD, the temple was destroyed. And of course, we have data in regards to the Jerusalem Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud, and in regards of strange things happening 40 years up to the destruction of the temple. Now, if we know that the temple was destroyed 70 AD and weird things were going on in the temple 40 years, well, if we calculate from 70 weeks and go backward, we hit into 30 AD. Now, that's the time, around the time where Yeshua was executed, right? That's 70 weeks. So we have prophecies going one direction to a specific point of time, and we have the Babylonian and Jerusalem Talmud saying, talking about that weird things was going on in the temple, like the door was opening automatically, the middle candle was blown out all the time, and the red thing wouldn't be turning white, and in regards of the, lots of weird things in the temple going on, and I think Josephus might also have recorded it, but I'm not solid on that. But I think he might be a third witness in regards of some of the strange things going on. But I might be wrong. But anyway, I'm not totally solid. But anyway, the Jerusalem Talmud, the Babylon Talmud, they know that there was strange things going on in the temple for 40 years before it was destroyed. Now again, 70 AD, going back to 30 AD, so we go from one direction, we go from another direction, and what does it center, around 30 AD, when Jesus was executed. So, there we go, both directions. Now, again, we can this and that in regards to the numbers here and there and all that, a little here and a little there, right? But, because, there's no year zero and all that, can be a confusion thing as well, and this and that, so, I said 27 to 33 in the past. It's actually 28 to 34. That's the period of the 7 week. So anyway, but that's some people will say little here and little there in regards to when Yeshua was executed, but they usually keep inside the week of the 70 week time. So anyway, so you take it from one side, you take it from the other side, and you come to one specific point. Now, so after the 70 weeks, we have in regards to the city's destruction and the temple's destruction that happened 70 AD. Now, what happens afterwards? Well, it continues in regards of a week of time. It talks about a week of time that has nothing to do with the 70 weeks. And that's another error. Some shoots like the 70 week into the future and says the 70 week wasn't fulfilled. Others take the future week and then put it back to the 70 week. It's both error. It's just both things are erroneous. Like we are going into the future in regards to the timeline. We have 70 weeks, we have the city and the temple destroyed, and then we have a future week in the future, So 70 weeks is fulfilled, city and temple destroyed, fulfilled, and then we have the last week, the last 7 years of time, which is still future. So there's so much madness out there, and the Jews have further madness in regards to putting a dot into after the the first 77s. in regards to the 7 weeks. I don't know, it's like 7 sevens, right? You know, the first 7 sevens in regards to 49 and all that, they have, you know, where they put a dot in there, apparently, like, I don't know, it's like, it's absolutely madness, and yet they still go on with regards to claiming, yeah, well, it says actually 490 years, not 483 years, and they say, well, the Jews, or the Christians, that they're using 433 years and not 490 years. It's like, it becomes just a mess of absolutely rubbish. So yeah, 70 weeks fulfilled. City and temple destroyed, 70 AD fulfilled. And that was fulfilled by the Roman beast. It was the Romans that destroyed the city and the temple, 70 AD. Now some will say that the city was destroyed 71 AD. But in any case, the temple usually is accepted that was 70 AD, although you can find some variations on that as well, but 70 AD. So we are kind of in that, you know, area. So 70 AD, city and temple destroyed, and then we have a future week in the future which has yet to be fulfilled. So yeah, there we go. It's like, because people can't understand that when there's talked about another future week, well, they was like, oh, a week, it must be, you know, and then they, like, it's a mess. It's absolutely a mess. So that's pretty much it. So here we have, like, we can take it from, this is I've used multiple copies of the Bibles and all that to try to figure out in regards to this, because it was so confusing. Like, some people are saying one thing, and other people are saying other things, and I found out that the Danish version are putting this weird dot in it. I found out that's coming from the Jews. Like, you're reading the Danish version, they put this dot in the middle of the prophecy, and you're like, why in the world would they put a dot in that place? It doesn't make any sense. But apparently that comes from the Jews, and you know, as far as I can see, it's from the added dots and tittles of things, where they just say, well, there has to be a dot here, and then further mess up the whole thing, you know, instead of just, so it's like, now of course we have the curse in regards to the 70 weeks, that the Jews, you know, have a curse in regards of those who count the 70 weeks of Daniel. Because if Jews are actually counting the 70 weeks of Daniel, they will figure out that the Messiah should already have been here before the temple was destroyed. So that's a curse in regards to that. You can just look that up. Curse of Daniel 70, just a little time since I like it. Curse of Daniel, calculating the 70 weeks of Daniel, and you just have to question, why would they, you know, Daniel 9 and the rabbinic curse, the Rabbi Sneak or something like that. I just like that. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Why is there a rabbinic curse? Babylonian Talmud Tractate Sanhedrin 97b stating, "Blasted be the bones of those who calculate the end on." And on anyone who attempts to understand the prophecy found in the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verses 24-26 of the Holy Scriptures. Yeah, so, but you can just search in regards to that, in regards to the curses. But the Jews do, you know, it's interesting, the two rabbis that I've been, you know, that I've listened to in regards to this, Tovia Singer and the other guy, which I can't remember. And but they all both want to point out this dot nonsense, you know, they put in after the 70 week, like, and see, they have corrupt blah blah, you know, give me a break with the bullshit. But then they also you know, they confirm the 490 years, but then they, you know, the last one I heard, I can't remember what he's called, but he was like talking about, well, the Christians are only using 483 years. It's like all this garbage and mess and all that, trying to discount the truth and trying to mislead and trying to absolutely make you know, what do you call it, diffuse, or what do you know, to smoke it all so you are blind, to muddy the waters instead of just, you know, understanding what it actually says. It's just It's a madhouse. It's a madhouse. But anyway, you can go look in regards to the curse of the 70 weeks, the so-called rabbinic curse, and that should be some information in regards to that. So no gap theory in regard, no gap nonsense in the 70 week. Anyway, let's see here what we can. Let's see here. So we have, at the beginning of your supplications in regards of Daniel, a word went out, and I have come to make it known for you are greatly appreciated. So consider the word and understand the vision. 70 weeks are decreed for your people and for your Kodesh city. Well, what city? What Kodesh city? The holy city, that's Jerusalem. So in regards to decreed for the people of the Jews and the holy city, to put an end to the transgression, and to seal up sins, and to cover wickedness, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up vision and prophecy, or Navi, and to anoint the most holy. Now, what was this talking about? What was Yeshua doing when he came around? Now, people can discuss in regards of varying details and all that, but that's what Yeshua fulfilled when he was there in the 70 week, when he was cut off. And in regards to further details, of course, is in Isaiah 53 and all that. Of course, they will attack that as well. It's like the people who do not believe in Yeshua, of course, will attack the things about the prophecies concerning the truth, of course, because instead of working for God, they're working for the devil, and the devil, as we know, is a liar and deceiver and a twister of words and all that. So that's a thing, right? Anyway, know then and understand from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Mashiach, the Prince, that will be Yeshua, is 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Now here the bullshitters, the Jewish bullshitters, have like a dot in regards of the 7 weeks. Like, so there's like it's like, see if I have the Danish version here. I do have the Danish version, but and I really I didn't understand, where did the Danish translators get this dot in regards, because it was really like, I'm reading it and it's like, what is wrong? Why they put like a dot in the middle of the prophecy? It's like didn't make any sense, But then I found out it's coming from the Jews, the Masoretic text, all the Masoretic, blah blah blah, So what's that? If you actually find a non-Masoretic text where you don't have all the dots and tittles added and all that, is there actually a dot in it in the text? Oh, but this little symbol here, that means there's like, was that symbol added, by the scribes, Just a question, Anyway, so let's see here. So again, just in regards to that, there's a curse in regards to calculating the 70 weeks of Daniel. Why would they put a curse on that? Because if Jews are calculating the 70 weeks, they find out that the Messiah should have been here long ago. And the question is, how many choices is there in regards of choosing in that time period? Well, there's only one. And of course they don't like him. They hate Jesus, They call him Yeshu, which is an acronym for may his name be obliterated or blotted out, It's very disgusting, but anyway, see here. If I can find the sim. Yeah, here we go. So, and see if it also fits the thing here. Yeah. So here we have, like, in the one text, you don't have this dot in the middle of it, but in the Danish version, you have a dot, but before you have the 7 weeks, and then you have a dot. It's full stop dot. And then they go into 62 weeks, but you don't have that in other versions. But the Danish version put it in there, and I understand where they got it from now. As far as I can see, they got it from the Jews in regards to the Masoretic text and all that. That just further, messes up things. And of course, they don't want people to understand this prophecy, because if people actually understood this prophecy of the Jews, they would understand that the Messiah had already come. And we can't have that, because there's only one choice in that time period. when this prophecy is talking about, and that's Yeshua. Kind of a problem for the Jews, the non-believing Jews, because they don't want people to believe in Yeshua and find the true Messiah. Anyway, and they was like, oh, but it's actually in the text. It only have Mashiach. It doesn't say that it's. Give me a break with the bullshit, Anyway, so know then and understand from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem unto Mashiach the Prince is 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Now, 7 weeks, so that's 7 sevens. Although I'm actually not sure. I can't remember if the manuscripts actually, because in the translation it says 7 weeks, and of course that's 7 sevens. I'm not sure if it actually says 7 sevens in the. But anyway, I guess in regards of the Hebrew, in regards of Shavuah, I don't know. Anyway, there's something I can look into. It's also interesting. I found out that in the Danish translation, when Jesus says how many times you need to forgive your brother and all that, in the Danish translation he says 77. It doesn't really, 77, it's not really a number that really makes any. But in other translations, apparently, he says 70 times 7. And I'm like, that makes so much more sense. Now, I haven't looked into it in regards to why some translators says 77 and other translators says 7 times 7. But 7 times 7 makes so much more sense in regards to what would 7 times 7 lead the mind onto? Well, the 70 weeks of Daniel as well. So you would have a huge amount of deeper understanding if Yeshua actually was saying 70 times 7, instead of 77. So that's another thing I need to research at some point. But anyway, makes much more sense than 77. But again, I haven't further digged into that. But it just makes much more sense if he actually said 70 times 7. And I really don't know why the translators ended up in the Danish version saying 77. So anyway, that's something to search into and figure out in regards of translations and all that, and see what if it was just the translator that actually just chose to write 77 instead of 7 times 7, because they thought it sounded better or something like that, and, But they do so much meaning and so much deepness. Like when I was like 70 times 7, that's a whole never thought of thinking in regards of deepness, right? 77, I'm like, I have nothing pretty much. 77, yeah, that's 2 sevens, right? Sure, well, that could be 79, but I don't know. It's like, well, it's 77, it's like 77, right? So you can't really. But 17 times 7, oh, the prophecy of Daniel, that's kind of 70 times 7, right? Might kind of be a deepness also to, with Yeshua pointing to, it kind of interconnects then with other things, which would then make much more sense. Anyway, so unto Mashiach the Prince is 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Now again, the Jews, the so-called the rabbis, right? Like Tovia Singer and all that. Well, there's a dot in there, blah 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 blah. Yeah, and who put that dot in there? The Masoretic scribes? Is it there? If you take all the tits and doddles away and all that from the text, is it still there? Because the other rabbi, I call them rabbis. We're not to call anyone rabbi because we only have one rabbi and he's in the heavens, so I call them, rabbis. So the one rabbi, he showed in regards to see there's this symbol in there, and that means there's like a dot, okay. And who added that? Some scribe? Huh? So if you actually remove that, then there's no dot. Is that so if you remove the dots and the tittles that is added by the Masoretic scribes, I think they're called the Sophorim or something like that, whatever. Anyway, so if you actually remove them, there's no dot or what? Is that what you're saying? It's like, oh, this little thing, says there's like a dot. So you first have 70 weeks, and then you have, and then you like make a full break, and then you have 62 weeks, and and further, and then they make more bullshit, because then they use the, they go on to use the argument of 490 years instead of, because the Christians are calculating with 483 years, and that's just, I'll give me a break with the bullshit. And the last one also said that I think it's Michael Skubak or something like that. Skubal, I can't remember. Anyway, but he was like, no Christians actually believes that. Well, I'm sitting here right here, and those theories that you put out, I don't believe in those two theories, So again, making fun of things and making bullshit and all that, as they usually do. They try to do everything they can to dump stinking filth in their pants for the smell of others. Anyway, so know then and understand from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Mashiach the Prince is 70 weeks and 62 weeks. So that's 69 weeks in total. It shall be built again with streets and a trench, but in times of affliction. And after the 62 weeks, so after the 62 weeks, which are after the 70 weeks, would be after the 69 weeks in total, because first the 7 weeks, then the 62 weeks, that's 69 weeks, that's 473 years, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 483 years. Did I say that? All these numbers, right? 483 years. That goes to 27 AD. Now, if I'm making a mistake, well, I'm in regards of, I'm trying the best that I can with all the numbers here. Yeah. So, in regards of if my tongue slips or anything like that, hopefully you can see by the context what I mean. But I know that sometimes one makes a mistake in regards of. But anyway. So you have 70 weeks and you have 62 weeks. That's a total of 69 weeks, or 69 sevens, right? That is 483 years, which is 27 AD, which is the last year of the 69 week. Now then afterwards, right? Then we go into 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. Those are the years of the 70 week. The 70 week. That is the last week of time. The last sevens of the 70 week of time. So that's the 70 week. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. So, and after the 62 weeks, which again would be after the 69, because we have the 7 and we have the 62. After the 62 weeks, Mashiach, that would be Jesus, shall be cut off. That would be the Messiah being cut off. And if we look in regards of further details on this, you can go to Yeshayahu, Isaiah 53, and read further in regards to the details on that. So, Mashiach shall be cut off, and have not. And the people of a coming prince, so who would that be? That would be the Romans, the Roman beast. So the people of a coming prince shall destroy the city. What city? What city are we talking about? Well, the holy city, right? What holy city would that be? Jerusalem. And the Kodesh place. In regards to the holy, the temple. So, and the people of a coming prince shall destroy the city and the holy place. In regards to the temple, so the city and the temple will be destroyed. When did that happen? 70 AD, the Romans destroyed it. And at the end of it is with a flood, and waste are decreed, and fighting unto the end. So, and it's like, we go into the details in regards of a linear thing. So it goes from 70 weeks is fulfilled. We have the temple, the city and the temple destroyed in 70 weeks. And then we go into a future event, which is yet future. And he shall confirm a covenant. Actually, it's interesting. It seems like he's strengthening. He's strengthening. Actually, Danish translation, I think, actually says strengthening. And if you look into the Hebrew, or the Strongs and all that, because Daniel is having Aramaic and Hebrew. But anyway, but in the Danish is also says like he's strengthening. He's using the word strengthening. And I must say, there's two options here as far as I can see, that he's, that people believe that he's making a covenant, right? But it seems like I'm thinking that he's strengthening the covenant that was already there in the past in regards to the law of Moses, because he's going to try to deceive the Jews. But either way, because the thing is, the first half of the week, the Jews are sacrificing. Like that's part of the law of Moses, in regards to the instruction. So he seems to be actually, doing so the Jews can uphold the law of Moses in regards of sacrifices and oblations and whatnot and all that. Whatever that is fixed in regards to that. Now, of course, that also means there has to be a third temple, and there will be a third temple, because there has to be a third temple, because at some point there will be sacrifices. And that also connects to Daniel 12, which talks about that this is for the end time. Daniel 12, God says to Daniel that, that this is for the end time. Like, let's see here. But you, Daniel, hide the words. This is chapter 12. I'm just jumping a little here. But you, Daniel, hide the words and seal the book until the time at the end. Many shall diligently search, and knowledge shall increase. So what is God telling Daniel? This is for the end time. You just seal this in, you seal the book until the time of the end. I'm not sure how Daniel kind of sealed the book in regards of there are, I do wonder in regards to some of the chapters, or not chapters, some of the things, because it's doesn't seem like Daniel's book is totally linear set up, so you're going from some of the kings that are in the future, and then you go back to kings in the past. And I don't know if Daniel might have done something to it to kind of, but I guess Daniel didn't understand either, so it's kind of, so maybe it's not even Daniel that is, maybe God have done something. I don't know. I really, or maybe it's just for that we get inputs in regards to the last times, that things like in the world are also beginning to do things that helps us to actually unlock further things. And, of course we have the 144,000 that is coming around as well in the future, the 144,000 Israelites and all that. So, but yeah, whatever the case, it's talking about this is for the end. And in regards of further details, that the daily, which would be the sacrifices, is taken away. So again, we have there has to be a temple at the end time. So, and then of course we also have the book of Revelation talking about the temple in the sixth trumpet. So, which also have two variations in regards of readings, because it seems like one reading talks about that Yohanan or John is measuring the temple and the inner, but in another translation he's actually seemingly blessing those things, like they're like kind of sanctified until this. So of course it's interesting, because when he's giving like a measuring rod, it says, right? But it sounds like he's measuring the things in some translations, or the most of the translations. But apparently there's a variant translation that I've seen, which kind of where he seems to be blessing the places, and then I guess it makes a little more sense, because we don't give them any measuring things. So and also the outer yard is given to the Gentiles for 42 months or something like that. But the temple is seemingly for the, so yeah. And I haven't collected all the data inputs in regards to those things, but we're told in Daniel 12 that this is for the end time. For he said, Go, Daniel, for the words are hidden and sealed. So here we again. And he said, Go, Daniel, for the words, and we're still in chapter 12 here. For the words are hidden and sealed till the time of the end. So this is again, we're told that this is for the end time. Many shall be cleansed and made white and refined, but the wicked shall do wickedness. And none of the wicked shall understand, but those who have insight shall understand. And from the time that which is continual is taken away. It's like, that's the sacrifices, the 2 sacrifices a day. The continual is like a daily sacrifice, 2 sacrifices a day, and is taken away. And the abomination that lays waste is placed. That would be an idol, an image, standing where it shouldn't stand in the temple. 1,290 days. So, and from the time that which is continual is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is placed, 1,290 days. And I'm still not sure in regards of, like, it sounds like, but then again, it could, like, you could understand in another way in regards of the idol and the abomination, but it sounds like the abomination will be set up at this point, which makes sense in regards to the other 70 weeks, where we have the middle of the week, the continual is taken away, the sacrifices is taken away, and then the idol is set up. So it seems like that it's from that time, 1,290 days will be, and then we have 1,335 days as well. And of course, interestingly enough, we have the usual 1,260 days is equal 42 months, but here we have another month added to it, so we have 1,290 days. But with the next number, blessed is he who is waiting earnestly and comes to the 1,335 days. Well, that's 1.5 months more added to the one that, so we have 1,290 days, which is plus 1 month. Then you have the next number, which is like plus 1.5 months. So that's 2.5 months extra, compared to the 1,260 days, which is like half of the 7 years. And then God says to Daniel, but you go your way till the end and rest, and arise to your lot at the end of the days. And also we have the 3, for an appointed times and a half, which is usually said that that's 3.5 years, which would be 1,260 days, and all that. That's also in chapter 12. So we have multiple numbers, and we're told that this is for the end time. So if this is for the end time, it must be for the end time, right? So that means it's future, and that seems to be connecting with the last week of Daniel in Daniel 9. So yeah. So let's go back to the. So anyway, Daniel 9. And also, in regards to, you have the puzzle pieces that we know that the Roman beast continues until Jesus returns. So the Roman beast is like, we can see, like, it might not be so clear if we just read it without the other details from the rest of the book of Daniel and the Bible. But we understand that the Roman beast continues until Jesus returns, and, to throw the Roman Antichrist into the lake of fire. Now the man sitting in the seat of the papacy is sitting in the seat of the devil, and that's the Antichrist with the number 666. That's the beast on the number 666. So the little horn of the number 666. It's like connected. All these things: Antichrist, little horn, beast, all connected. Details about the same thing, giving us more details and information. And he shall confirm a covenant, or he shall strengthen a covenant. And again, in regards to strengthening a covenant, it sounds like if he's going to deceive the Jews, right? What would he do? Well, he would say he would strengthen the covenant of Moses, right? In regards to sacrifice and all that. If he's to be seen as the Christ, a false Messiah. If he's to be seen as the Messiah by the Jews, well, he's kind of going to look like that he's actually the Messiah, right? Have some kind of things that could make the Jews believe, oh, this is our Messiah, which of course it's not, but he has to do something that will make the Jews believe that he's the Messiah. And if he's actually strengthening the covenant of Moses to make the Jews allowed to sacrifice again and have a temple, so have a temple and sacrifice and all that, they might, they might think, oh, that's our Messiah, right? So sadly, they're kind of blinded on a lot of levels. So it wouldn't, people are like, it couldn't be that they would do that and all that. Well, when the devil moves, and when the devil whistles and all that, those who have rejected Jesus tend to follow along with the devil, and his plans. So let's see here. And he shall confirm or strengthen, again, the word in Hebrew, and you look into it, and actually we could, I guess, actually go there. You can see, oh my, it's kind of hot, It always gets hot, it's incredible. Let's go to Daniel 9, and the last part of it, around 25. Let's see here. There's a little, okay. And he shall confirm, right? In regards to confirm, what is the word? To prevail, have strength, be strong, be powerful, be mighty. Strong, mighty, prevail, strengthen. Let's see here if we can find the... wow, it's hot. ASB, see here if we can... See here. Well, here we have the Hebrew, which again, there's some of the book of Daniel that is Aramaic, and I'm not entirely, it sounds like it's Hebrew here, but I haven't further. Let's see, and he shall confirm, like he shall, prevail, have strength, be strong, be powerful, be mighty, be great, strong, mighty, prevail, strengthen, right? Strengthen, to make strong, strengthen, to confirm, give strength. To confirm a covenant. What covenant could it be that he was confirming? Well, as far as I can see, it could be in regards of a future kind of covenant, but it could also be that he's actually strengthening the covenant of Moses, in regards to sacrifices and all that, because clearly the Jews are now allowed to sacrifice, right? They have a temple, they're sacrificing and all that. So what could he actually be doing? He could be helping them to, in regards to the temple, getting a temple and sacrificing and all that. And being, allowing them to do it for 3.5 years. So again, in regards to totally how to translate it and all that, I haven't further gone into trying to further, but, you can see strengthening, it seems like, is a fair enough, and you also see the Danish translation actually having been using the word of strengthening, so as far as I can see, there's like two options. Some people believe that he's making a covenant for these 70 weeks and he's breaking it in the middle, but I'm thinking, that it could also mean that he actually strengthening the covenant in regards to the law of Moses, in regards to the sacrifices, and then he's going to break that at the the middle of the week. Either way, it's we can see that they are allowed to sacrifice, and they have a temple clearly at this point. So this is at the end time. So we know that there has to be a temple. So berit, here we have the covenant, right? So he's going to strengthen the covenant with many, great, much, many, so there's like la rabim, okay, with many, I guess, in regards of, I guess that's plural or something. So too many. Shavua, so we have the week, 7, period of 7. Like, I guess, like, how do you actually say? Seems like maybe it's like the same of 7, right? 7 Shavua. Yeah, okay. Can't remember how do you actually say 7 in Hebrew? Like, I can't remember the word, but probably close to Shavua. Maybe I can actually. 2 seconds to actually. It's hard to remember all things. 7 in Hebrew. Let's see here. How do you say 7 in Hebrew? Hebrew numbers. like 1, 2, 3, like Echad. It's like Stein, I think. And then we have, I guess, Shalosh, I can't even remember. Stein, Shalosh, I'm not sure. I just hard to remember. So isn't it? Come on, let's give me a. It shouldn't be that in the numbers. Let's see. Yeah. English to no to Hebrew, no Hebrew to numbers in Hebrew. I'm sure I've heard it. It's just hard to remember how to count in Hebrew. Let's try that. 7, yeah. Yeah, Shavua. Yeah. Shiva. I think Shiva. I think the ultimate guide to numbers in Hebrew. So I guess that the Shavua might be connected with 7, right? Oh, here we go. Echad. Why does it say? Oh well, Snaim. Okay, that's apparently Echad, Staim, Shalosh, Arba, Hamash, or Kamash, or Hamash. I want to know, just a little different in regards. Well, Shiva. Here is like Shiva or Shiva. Is that like all masculine and feminine? 2 different ways. But anyway, you have Shiva or Shiva. So that seems to be, close to Shavua in regards to 7. So for 1 week, Shavua. For 7, Echad is also in the Greek, it's actually translated to 7. So apparently for 1/7 in regards to 1 week. And in the midst, or in the half, or the middle half, okay, of the week, Shavua, to cease, desist, rest, to cause to cease, put an into, to exterminate, destroy, to cause to desist from, remove, to cause to fail. So cause to fail what? In regards to the sacrifices. So if he causes the sacrifices to fail, well, that means there must be some sacrifices being going on, right? And then we also see in regards to Daniel 12, let's talk about the daily. So here we have the sacrifices. The sacrifices will be the same as the daily, the 2 dailies with the oblation or whatever it's called, whatever. With the gift, tributes, offerings, with the, things that is also fixed in regards of it. And so Ve'al and on Kenaf, in regards of extremity, the wings, the quickness of abomination, detestable thing or idol, an idol will make desolate. To be desolate, to be desolated, deflowered, to be deflowered in regards, I guess, ravage. Okay, devastate, ravage. I guess ravage would also in regards to sexual context and all that. It's going to defile the temple. It's going to make, in some sense the holy defiled, So, ve'at until, as far upon, well actually, isn't ve'at in regards of art, right? Art, upon. And upon the speed or the wings of abominations, of what do you call it, defiling upon the consummation, or two upon, or two on, to add, two upon, as okay, two upon the consummation, completion, termination, full end, complete destruction, consummation, and annihilation, completion. So to the end, to the completion, which shall be poured upon the desolate, and the one who desolates, So this will be the end for the Antichrist in regards to the Roman beast of the number 666. So it will continue. So from the middle of the week, the idol is put up, and the sacrifices are stopped until the very end, as far as I can see. But of course, it's interesting in regards to the translation. It actually seems like it might be actually, say that there's like 1209 days maybe to the idol itself to be set up, but that doesn't make much sense because we are in the end time, right? We are at the very end of weeks, right? So it doesn't kind of it doesn't make sense if the sacrifices are stopped, and so it seems like that the abomination, the idol, is set up at this point in regards to the half of the week, and then the Antichrist will have 3.5 years, and then it's pretty much going to be done away with him. He's going to be thrown into the lake of fire at that point when Yeshua returns. And this is the very, very end of weeks. And if we go to chapter 12 here, let's just take the King James Version here. So, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. So that's like a trouble, and some people talks about Jacob's trouble and all that. I don't have enough data points and enough information, wisdom to actually understand those things. But it seems like that might make pretty good sense. That there is a kind of a troubled time for the Jews. And it seems like there's a great tribulation for the Gentiles. And then there is something for the, there seems to be something for the Jews as well. So it seems like the great tribulation we first have for the nations, the non-Jews. And then you have the 144,000 will be chosen at that point in the sixth seal. And then we seem to have another period of time of great, trouble, I guess, the Jacob's trouble or something like that. Some of the Jews actually might actually be partaking in the great tribulation against the Gentiles. That might be a possibility. Although we do have 144,000 Jews that are standing for the truth at that point. So not all Jews, but the rest of the Jews that are still blinded and following after the devil might actually be partaking in killing off Christians. But that we'll see at that point. Because if they actually think that they are following the true Messiah, right, and that they're just doing, the work of God in some sense, they're persecuted Christians before in the past. So, in a sense, on everybody that rejects Jesus, you tend to persecute Christians, right? Tend to be against Christians. So, Mohammedans, Roman Catholicism, those are the two biggies. And we also have seen Jews persecuting Christians in the past. So it kind of wouldn't be a surprise if the non-believing Jews ended up. Actually, one of the rabbis actually said it would be if the Jews have said to the Jewish leaders after Jesus that they believed that Jesus was God, well, that would be a criminal offense. It was like, I think that was how he worded it, a criminal offense. And then then this guy wouldn't have said what he said. Let's see if I can find the information, if I have it. I might have closed it down. But he was saying something of that accord. If the believers had said that Jesus was God, Gamaliel or whatever, I can't remember. This so-called rabbi of the Jews, he says he wouldn't have said this, because it would have been, capital crime, I think, capital crime. So if the disciples had said that Jesus was God, he said that Gamaliel wouldn't have said it, because then it would have been capital crime. Well, whatever. But he has a lot of false stuff, because, of course, the believers understood that Jesus was God from the very beginning. So it's just a mess of bullshit and more bullshit and slight twisting and this and that. It's disgusting. It's just utter disgusting, because the thing is, it actually works in regards of making a mess out of things, So anyway, because it's like there's a lot, there's so confusion. They so these say this and this say this and this, that and whatnot and all that, and it's just it gets confusing. But yeah, so it would be a capital crime, he said. So yeah, okay. I can't remember. Anyway, so, but here we go. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be, thy people, who is thy people? Well, that would be the Jews, right? The Israelites. And there shall be a time, and that's also a thing which I've kind of recognized in some sense, that it seems to be like, in regards of, it seems to be that there's actually talking more, places, they're talking about the Israelites and not the Gentiles, where it's like, yeah, okay, there should be some division in regards of things, that this is talking about the Jews. It's not talking about like, this is specifically for the Jews, it seems. It's like dividing the things in regards of what is for the Gentiles and what is actually talked about in regards to the Israelites. You have the two women. You have the woman that has a husband, and you have, that also had a child, that bear birth, and then you have the woman that was barren and doesn't have a husband, yet the woman that is barren has more children than the woman that has a husband and all that. You see, if you go to Yeshayahu, after chapter 37, you see this where God is talking about the two women. So you have the woman with a husband, and you have the woman who doesn't have a husband, and yet she ends up having more children than the woman who has a husband. And of course, the woman who has a husband would of course be Israel. That would be the Jews. And the woman who doesn't have a husband, of course, would be the Gentiles. So anyway, so for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never since was a nation, even to that, of course, that, you could also, in regards to these two women, I guess you could, but that's at least that's as far as I see it, to the best of my ability, that it must be that the woman with a husband is the Israelis, it's the Jews. And then you have the woman who is without the husband. Well, who doesn't have a husband? Well, that would be the Gentiles. And yet the woman who doesn't have a husband has more children. There's more Christians in the world. There's more believers in Jesus than in regards to the Jewish side, So anyway, so that just makes pretty much sense in regards of the prophecy. Anyway, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never since there was a nation, and even to that time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Now, that would be the book of life, the book, which is the book of the Lamb. But anyway, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So here we have the resurrection. Now, you might be able to say, well, there was some resurrections when Jesus was around. There seem to have been some kind of people going from death to becoming alive again, going into Jerusalem and all that. There are some data points suggesting that. Sadly, we only have, as far as I recall, one data point in the New Testament in regards to this, and that is in the book of Matthew. It's like weird that it wouldn't be more... But if you want to have more details on this, you need to go beyond the book of Matthew. There's some manuscripts outside the book of Matthew that talks about this, as like the guy that comes to the king talks about it, just in regards to testifying, in regards to what was happening and all that, talks about this thing. But again, in the New Testament, there isn't really that much about it, So, besides this one thing, as far as I recall in the book of Matthew, I don't think there's anything else inside the New Testament in regards to this resurrection of people at the time of Jesus dying on the cross. And the graves jumps open and all that, but again, you have some details outside the New Testament in regard to that. And it could be interesting to look into the subject for sure, because it seems to be something that they just knew at that point, but it doesn't seem to be expanded on in the New Testament as far as I can see. So it's kind of a little weird, because kind of would be like if the graves were, if people were coming alive, right? It would be kind of a thing that you. But again, maybe they actually did just outside the New Testament, and maybe some of those documents was lost to history, and we don't really know about those that actually is out there in regards to the topic. So maybe it was in regards of other documents and other writings in regards to this event. Anyway, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Now, I would think that would still be a future thing, right? So in regards to the event of Jesus, that was just a smaller event compared to what is going to come in the future. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. So I guess shine as the brightness of the stars, I guess. And they that turn many to righteousness, there we go, as the stars forever and ever. Because the firmament is probably the word rakia, yep. And the rakia is the same thing as the heavens. So the firmament is just synonymous with heavens. So when you see firmament, as they translate it in the King James Version, that's just the heavens. You can actually just replace firmament with heavens. You could say, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the heavens, and they that turn to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. It's like firmament and heavens are synonymous. So the firmament are named heavens in the beginning of the book of Moses. So anyway, so then he says to Daniel, but thou, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Like the end, right? The end. Okay, that's not much information, just end, okay? Well, I guess we can, no. Compare end of time, period, or place, or the end of something, the border of a country as the ends. Okay, so that's the end, right? So this will be the end, right? And seal the book even to the time. That's interesting to see. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's the time. Okay, the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Like that sounds like today, right? People are running to and fro, and knowledge is increased for sure. Anyway, then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in the linen which was upon the waters. So as far as I can see, we have three. We have one standing on one bank of the river, another on the other side of the river, and then you have the guy floating over the waters. So clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? So, and one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? So one of the guys that is standing on either one of the banks are asking the man that is upon the waters. Now that's interesting also in regards to, you think about it, upon the waters, right? Upon, is that actually, no, okay, that's actually ma'al. So it's not the word that I wonder if that's, if that could be Aramaic or if that's Hebrew, but above the waters, on the top above, okay. But he's, okay, upon the waters, the top of the waters of the river. You do, think about, when the Spirit of the gods was upon the waters, hovering upon the waters, or when Jesus was walking upon the waters as well. If there might be some symbolic thing that the guy that is upon the waters, or, apparently it's using the word me'al. But I do wonder if this is actually Aramaic or if this is Hebrew. Can we actually see that someplace maybe? Again, I don't know which section is of the Aramaic and the Hebrew in the book of Daniel. It's kind of annoying that it's actually in Aramaic. Would have been nice if it actually had been all in Hebrew. But anyway, that's just how it is, I guess. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, we already took that. How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in a linen which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heavens, Shamaim, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and half. And that's in regards of, and again, if you actually look in the Hebrew. So, Va'ishma, and I heard, I guess that sounds like a little like, was like one of the guys that, names I can't remember. But anyway, Va'ishma et ha'ish, levush habadim asher mima'al lameme. And I would look this up in other places. Just, incredible in regards of, if this is a Hebrew word, it seems like it might be a Hebrew word. Above, Soha ta'aseh la teva ve'al amma teralena milmala, above, okay. You tend to try to read things in context and figure out what is this actually talking. How is the word used, right? That's the thing, right? Because al usually, upon, but this is actually used as upon. But this one is also used as a word upon, so it's kind of, in regards of how to sort that out. And here we have above, so above or upon, on high. Anyway, whatever the case, so let's see here. So Mima le me, so he's upon, or like le me, to the waters of the river, and he held up apparently by Yahim to rise up Yemino in regards to the right hand, and his left hand Usimolo, the left hand apparently El Hashemayim, apparently towards unto the heavens. Vayishava, and swore, apparently to adjure, to swear, to adjure, to cause, to take an oath. Ki lemoed, there we go. Ki would be for lemoed in regards of lemo. Okay, it's to moed, to a time. Moadim, times. So moed, moadim. So lemoed, to moed, for a moadim, times. Verasi. Veresi. So lemoed, moadim, varesi, ureralot, and when he shall have accomplished. That's interesting. Kala, to accomplish, to cease, to consume, okay. To finish, to be complete, okay. Napet, to scatter by the hand of the peoples, Kodesh, okay. So we have the holy people, to scatter by hand, by power, to scatter the holy people by power, something like that. Tik lena, all these things shall be finished. All these. So yeah. So that's a good question. Because we have a lot, we have a lot of talkings about the end time and this and that, right? And I heard Va'ani Shamati Velo Avin Va'omera Adoni Ma Aradrit Ele. So I heard, but I didn't understand what was said of my Adoni. Is that's my Lord? Yeah, my Lord. I didn't understand my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Is that actually, my Lord? That could be God as well, right? Oh, my Lord. But anyway, let's see. And a half, and when he shall have accomplished to scale, and I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? Okay. So what is that?